tattoo. It reminds me a lot that you never really know what others are going through.
Medical examiner now ruling Bryce Gowdy's death a suicide.
Just because you play a warrior sport doesn't mean you have to be quiet when things are wrong. You can reach out and ask for help.
It's not really just about the tattoo or just about football. It's more about how I can impact people around me.
He's gone through a lot of hard things, but he's come out of it on the other side a better person.
Marker.
First off, Michael, take me way back. Grew up in Boca, in a pretty tight-knit family.
Yep.
When did football come into the picture and why?
Going into high school, I always wanted to play football. That's, just I felt like I had a passion. I really wanted to do that, but my parents didn't want me to play really until I was in high school. Once I got to 9th grade, I was finally allowed to play. I think a lot of the physical traits were kind of there, having the arm, but it was definitely a lot to pick up just in terms of the game itself.
Deerfield Beach High School is on the football map. Touchdown, Michael Pratt.
You can see from watching him, he's got an inner drive, and the way he uplifted the players around him was very impressive. They would compete, they would fight tooth and nail. It was because of his leadership.
Michael Pratt drops back, looks, throws, and it's Bryce Gowdy for the touchdown, Deerfield Beach.
Bryce Gowdy. What was it like knowing you were going to battle with that guy on Friday nights?
It was awesome. After practice, I'll go grab one of my receivers and say, hey, let's get a little bit extra reps. And then it'd be almost pitch black, and Bryce is like, I need 2 more slants, I need 2 more go balls. He was consistently the same guy every day, always had a smile on his face, the kind of people that, I want to gravitate towards.
Off the field, how often were they together?
If you seen one, you seen the other.
Now entering the field as captains for tonight's game, number 7, Bryce Gowdy. Number 13, Michael Pratt.
The foundation within each one of them individually were good. They were good kids, but they were both raised completely different. Bryce, he was growing up, kind of raised to be the man of the house because his mom was a single mother. They went through a path of homelessness, struggling for food, clothes, and one of those kids that may come over to spend the night, but he may end up being there a week.
Even though we had very different lifestyles growing up, ultimately we both had the same passion in football, which brought us closer together. And looking into the future and seeing what we had ahead of us was something we talked about a lot.
That being said, I'll be signing with Tulane University.
So you commit to Tulane, he's committed to Georgia Tech.
Yep.
You're about to leave for Tulane. It's an exciting point, I imagine, in your life. You get a phone call.
Yep.
Can you just walk me through that moment?
Actually, one of my teammates, Jared Moore, he kind of called me and said, did you hear what happened? And I said, no, what are you talking about?
I remember exactly where I was. I was at the gym working out, and we heard that Bryce was missing. And I called him. Somebody actually ended up answering, but it was his little brother. He told me that Bryce was no longer with us.
Bryce Gowdy seemingly had everything going for him, all set to leave for Georgia Tech on Monday. Medical examiner now ruling Bryce Gowdy's death a suicide.
There could have been a lot of things going through his head because he was dealing with a lot of issues. Now, I'm not a therapist, but I think he was having survivor's remorse. He started to feel guilty that he was going to be going off to Atlanta, was going to be taken care of, living good, and his mother and his 2 brothers were going to live in uncertainty.
It was kind of really hard to comprehend because of those talks that we had about the future and getting to go to school and playing college football and all the perks of that. It was really difficult to think about what ultimately led to the decisions that he made. So something I can't really explain.
He cried in my arms that night, and I'd never experienced that sort of emotion from him. Just showed me how much he truly cares about the people that he loves.
You know, it was Mike's, I mean, he's a leader. He's a natural born leader. So his, first reaction was to make sure the teachers, the teammates, the coaches were good. One day I was leaving my office and Mike was coming in and he kind of stopped me with his hand and said, "Coach, are you good?" And I gave him a quick response. "Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna be all right. I'll just do it." And he kind of held me up like, "Nah, Coach, like seriously, are you good?" I just broke down crying and we just kind of sat and shared together how we were hurting and we had to find a way to get through it.
Ready, go.
Staying in communication with all those guys back at Deerfield definitely built our relationships. I was able to rely more on how close we were to kind of get through the trials and tribulations that I was going through.
You wore number 13 throughout high school. You get to Tulane, you select number 7. Why?
That was for Bryce. That was Bryce's, motto was believe in 7. There's a couple of us that have that tattoo on us. It's not something, I can take off. Something that has a bigger meaning to me on my throwing arm.
It's a reminder for everyone, mental health has become so much more of a conversation around athletics because they look to use that platform to try and make sure that players understand just because you play a warrior sport doesn't mean you have to be quiet when things are wrong and that you can reach out and ask for help.
The whole team kind of picked up around it. When we needed 7 points, whatever, they always step up to the plate.
ECU brings pressure. Pratt throws. Touchdown, Tulane!
Oh man, some of those big games that they had.
This is for Keys. Touchdown, Tulane!
To win the conference championships, the Oklahoma game. He did some things where I was just like, that's the Pratt I know.
45-31, your final score, Tulane, a winner over South Florida.
Sounds like his brother David was one of his biggest fans.
David was a sports kid always. He played baseball, he played basketball, he played football. So when Michael went to Tulane, David didn't miss a game ever.
He would call me after games and tell me stats that I didn't even know about the game. So he was definitely very locked in and dialed on all my sporting events.
What was it like finding out your brother David and his girlfriend were expecting a baby?
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember my brother called me and I just kind of was shook for a little second and didn't really know what to say. Him being my older brother and the guy that I always looked up to and kind of made me the person that I am, it definitely made it more of an experience.
Baby girl.
This was in the summertime, the week or two after she was born, and I got a phone call from my mom.
I was at dinner, I was like, "Hey, do you mind if, do you need me to step out? Or, can I call you when I'm done with dinner?" And kind of the way she said it, "I need you to step out, I have to talk to you." Kind of immediately, my heart kind of sank.
My brother David he got to see his baby girl born and was a little sick afterwards and just peacefully went in his sleep. We found out a long time later that it was the flu.
I don't really know how to describe it. But it's tough in a situation like that. So it was weird. It was something that, I'd felt once before with Bryce, but didn't feel like I was gonna have to feel that again.
You had not met Aria, who was 2 weeks old when David passed away. What was it like the first time you held her in your arms?
Coming home and being with all my family and getting to see Aria and get to meet her and get to hold her is something that really helped in the midst of all the pain and suffering that we were all going through.
Sweet girl.
She is like the happiest little girl ever. She's got the cutest little smile. I get to spend as much time with her as I can. She reminds me a lot of David.
Uncle Michael. That's my little niece right here.
When things arise, no matter how tragic they may seem, you gotta dial into who you are as a person, your foundation. You live in the way that Michael Pratt lives. Quite sure every day, you know, he was the best brother he could be to his brother. Every day, he was the best friend he could be to Bryce Gowdy, so.
His experiences have definitely shaped him. He's gone through a lot of hard things, but he's come out of it on the other side a better person.
This gives you mama and grandma.
You know, it was always something that, you know, I thought about with Bryce and my brother is, you know, how can I use this to make me a better person? So first, if you're suffering, sometimes other people don't know. Be courageous in that moment and reach out to the people around you. There's some really, really good people on this earth that are always gonna love you and they're gonna be there for you. Hopefully, my story really inspires other people to help them in whatever they're going through.